hang with Mr. Cooper. If you blew guns, you're a banger and a shooter. No jail time, the man be handing out your future. You dodge that, then hey, holla fucking Luya. Now every moment calculated, call that clock management. Don't try to get over, you get clocked, you won't manage shit. See, there you go, put the cart before the horse. Only off Turo, you hopped in the Porsche. But I know well when I'm about to level up, and you can tell, cause when they trying to set you up, tension. No, well, when you about Welcome to another edition of Tell It How It Is, No Filter. This is Voice of Reason, in case you didn't know. And I'm glad you could join me. Hold on. Here we go. We're a week from daylight savings. I had a conversation. Is that a money thing? I really think that's something to do with finances and government control. What is daylight savings really? You know what I mean? Like, we just did it in November, and now we already about to do it again. I think they play in your face with that, but that was just a random thought. You know what I mean? So yeah, get ready for daylight savings next week. Is that tied to the weather at all? Who knows? We're in March. Hopefully the weather is turning for the better, and we've survived, you know, what winter can do. Winter just showed you what it can be. You know what I mean? And, you know, it wasn't too pretty, but we good nonetheless, right? So be grateful. Another day above ground, another time above ground. I'm more grateful for that for you than you tuning in. All right, make sure you subscribe to the channel at Voice of Reason NF. You see it back here always, the pod and all of that. This is something that's been ongoing, and if it motivates you to start a pod of your own, by all means. Everything was inspired by others, right? So there's enough room for everybody to do their thing. Never feel like it's too saturated. Never feel like, oh, well, everybody got one. This negative energy I'm tired of. You know, if this helps you in some type of way, or you have love for something, do it. I don't care if one person does it or a million people do it. You know, sky is not the limit. Do what you feel you have a gift in or a genuine love for. And that's all I got for you. Hope you can hold that gem. All right. If looks aren't number one or most important to women, why are men sometimes intimidated by pretty women? This is common sense, guys. It's confidence, it's swag, and it's realization. So men should only, and I'm still not justifying it, feel intimidated because they don't got their shit together. Something is flawed in them. We all have flaws. No one's perfect. Something is wrong that they know. And maybe they feel like that will get in the way of their pursuit to an extent. Sometimes it's not that deep, but that could be a scenario. But it all just comes down to confidence, swag. You know what I mean? I don't know how small or how large the issue is mentally for men who get intimidated by this. You know, it's not always that either, justifiably, because sometimes we don't want the pretty woman. I know that sounds crazy. We know what it could come with. And then sometimes that's a good thing of knowing yourself, fellas, and know that your patience is a certain level. Sorry, you're not a simp. You're not just going to come off your bread that you work hard for. You're not. There's some other little factors, but those are the main. You know what I mean? It's a little bit about the attention it brings, because if you're a confident alpha male, let it bring. Facts. So it don't really be that. But honest to goodness, it comes with a lot. You know, women in general, no offense, it's a task. It's not, you know, in the beginning. And while getting to know each other, you know, I don't want to make it seem like the end all tell all is that it will always be a task, but getting to know anybody, you know, I won't just target women, just getting into a situation with two people involved, it's going to be a task at first to learn people, to know if this is a match, it's homework. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. So it's getting off subject a little bit, but when you go for the trophy come with a lot. So just keep that in mind. And that's why it's so funny, because women will tell you, all walks of life of women, oh, it's not about the look. You get into a conversation with them. What they really think, what they tell their homegirls in their group chats, who the hell knows? But amongst us, you know, if we're just cordial with women, if we just have interactions, whether friends, associates, coworkers, whatever, they'll sell it that looks aren't number one or most important. Hey, maybe they mean it. You know what I mean? But it don't matter, because if the guy, that's one thing. If a guy don't feel 100 about himself in that moment, you know, you're not judged or criticized for not feeling 100 all the time. You got days you may look better, you feel better. There's days you don't feel as good. We know that. But if you're not almost 100 in that moment, yeah, you're going to have an intimidation, you know. And fellas, where's this at? You know, mostly when you're out, right? Lounges, parties, gatherings, event space. Because in a regular one-on-one situation, I'm going to drop a gem for you guys. One-on-one, that's your moment. I mean, you may still feel a little intimidated by approaching a pretty woman, but one-on-one is your best bet, because y'all both human. Listen, throw it right there, and then you'll see. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes women behave differently around crowds, around their friends, just in that moment. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure there was women out there that could attest that they came across a guy or possibly met a guy at a time frame that they didn't respond the way they would have wanted to. And they may hold that like, damn, that just was a bad time frame. You know, his timing was off. So you could give yourself credit like that, fellas. It don't have to always be a no. It should just be a timing. You know what I'm saying? I said that in a song. Coming up is A Quiet Place 4 in a matter of weeks. Don't worry, I'll promote that here. So yeah, that's it for that. But I can tell you this, fellas, don't be intimidated. They're just a woman. It's just a human woman. The same way you can approach anyone. You should be able to approach anyone you have interest in, you want to have an interaction. Just don't allow the outcome to determine how you move. All right, you're welcome. Ladies, if a decent dude, real potential, approaches you, tuck the games for a moment. You never know. It could be well worth the ride. Yeah, we could say that, but women gonna do what they do, right? Y'all do what y'all do. Tell the truth, ladies. This is big too. Your relationship with your father determines a lot. I feel like the father has to do a great job. I'm not gonna criticize y'all like if y'all didn't have that type of father. And we try, because parenting, there's no school or class for that. You don't get, the blueprint. You have to use instincts and your better judgment and, a lot of love, of course, genuine love, but it's not as easy as it may seem or sound. So if the father was solid, that will teach the women how to deal with men. So do you listen to men? Ladies, your homeboys. If you got older brothers, younger brothers that's smart and mature, cousins, Male figures that are not the men you date. How much do you listen to them and take heed to what they say? If they're solid, then when you date, how much are you listening? How much are you tapping in if there's a potential? Because you know what? Some things may not be compatible, but that don't take away from the qualities of that guy. If it don't work, it don't work. But do he make sense? Take some of those things because you can use it later with something that does work. So if a decent dude approaches you, and whether I don't care, like if you really got somebody from marriage to a solid partner, cool. I'm letting you, go ahead, do that, handle that. If you really don't have nobody, you're on this journey, you're not dating right now, whatever other reasons why you have no one, you are lonely and you know it. The loneliness may not be heavy on your brain. It may not show in your actions per se. It may not seem like it's affecting you, but cut it out. Give space for something. You don't entertain all, but this, when life gets down to the nook and cranny, there's decent dudes. You know what I'm saying? I know what reputation says. I know the chases I just said about looks and what all that. I got more for you for that. But you know vibes. Read the room. You know what I mean? And cut the crap. That's all I'm saying. But that's on you to deal with your demons and whatever you go through, right? No judgment here. So yeah, that's that. If we ever speak again, it won't be too soon. This is an emotional statement. People have done things in people's lives that make people never want to interact again, right? And life is a learning lesson. But to preserve energy for this, it doesn't really help you. You read rooms, you learn people, and then you handle them accordingly. You don't have to give energy, but you don't have to be on this timing forever because it kind of holds you back. Unless there's certain scenarios like people you just have to come across that you would rather not. And then that's a whole different mental game that you have to master. But still, to keep energy in any form for another person long term is draining and counterproductive for you. No matter how foul things went, no matter what. It's easier said than done. It's a bunch of descriptions behind the fact and giving you reasons to justify why you're on this timing. But it doesn't help you. You gotta let go. You gotta, when we get there with it, forgive, higher power, let people be, that just, that's what helps you move on in life as a whole. So to hold that, again, even if you have to still interact here and there with someone, you just have to learn how to maneuver with that. But if you don't have to deal with or see them again, then you really should take this off your brain, and not dwindle because you're like, ugh. You're replaying and replaying what went on, what went down. Shit happens. People are gonna do things like intentional or non-intentional. Shit's just gonna fucking go left. Life is not peachy and creamy and Disneyland and always goes good. Like, it's just gonna happen. Things are going to happen. They're gonna continue to happen. You just try to just be the way you are genuinely. And, sometimes it's about how you can sit comfortably in your space with yourself, how you move and how you treat people, how you go about your life. You can control that. So if you can sit comfortably in that, that's all that really matters. This thing about holding on to grudges and trying to please people. If you are comfortable with yourself, the utmost important part, it is what it is. You know, some things you have to alter because it's business, maybe work. Those are some of the things where you got to really challenge yourself and be a certain way. But when it comes to your personal space, your personal time, your time outside grinding, it's on you. Unless there's some co-parenting involved, then you kind of got to regroup and treat that like similar to the workplace. It sounds crazy to call co-parenting business. Is it not? Is it not reflect that? Does that not show a little bit? You know what I mean? So you handle that how you handle that, right? Yeah, we flying. Anyway, last. Men acquire women mostly by looks and or shape, then accept certain behaviors because of it. If that's what you want, player, if that's what you want, pimping, it don't always go that way, because I think the more masculine men are, the more alpha, the more dominant, the more financially free, or a lot of characteristics combined will humble or change this, that would change this scenario, because the woman either gotta go along with it or hit the highway. So I feel like it's your conditions of your life. Go back to why they're intimidated by pretty women. Remember I said something must be wrong that bothers them deeply? That's where this can crash and burn as well. You can't tell people how to like, how to love, what approach, what strategy to have. You know, the older we get, fellas, if I'm to be a role model or OG, as they say, unk, boy, random thought, I hate being called Mister. Anyway, then the advice we would give our younger men on the come up. I can't tell you not to use looks. I can't tell you that's not going to be your most motivating part. But just be aware. You know, if you're dating and it's legal, like you are very transparent that you're dating and you are in multiple situations, because when you say you date, you can date whoever and they understand. At least my younger guys, don't have one or two, or however you're going to have, where you didn't use the looks per se, or not even the shape, and just see how that interaction goes. Because sometimes a good connection, you know, is built off of nothing on the surface. You know what I mean? Like, I'll use this scenario and it's not realistic. You know, be grateful for all of your senses and all of your limbs and ligaments. But let's take vision away. I don't know. I never want to go through that. But if you take vision away, whatever connection, whatever you feel, hear, sense, taste, whatever's going on, sometimes it's clearer. Sometimes you can really tell. It's maybe a gift, possibly. Because when you don't have one of your senses, whether it's that, you take away something. Other things strengthen, don't they? They get stronger. Alleged. So if you use that, you may do better at telling what's real and what's not. So you're going to use this. You know, I said that, and, you know, I gave good input on that. But if we can also step away from it, especially in the dating pool, and you're able to date and you're transparent, You want to shy away from that. I know it takes that. If a lot of us older cats did that from the gate, and sometimes we don't have to because life will teach you in the rough way to maybe go another route, right? So if you're able to do it though organically from younger, when you get older and now you're really hitting that point where you want a permanent partner and you seeking that, now that you've had all or different, you did the look chasing, shape chasing, now you didn't, if you did that, all of those, when it's time, you can make a better decision on who you should go after because you've had it all. But like some people, if you don't mix it up, you think you want that same thing you always want. And when it doesn't work out, you know what they say, where to point the finger if you keep going after the same thing. Now, looks and shape is a little universal. So if you chasing that mainly and it's not working out, you're not really going to realize or say that it's because that's what you're chasing, because that's a wide scale. I think that's more criticism for if you're limited to a certain area, a certain, sorry to say, race. Hey, listen, this is a very pro-black show, and I love my sisters. Let's not get that twisted. Is it limited to just that? I don't feel you should be judged if it's not. If you want to go outside, you can. I support that message. But we love our sisters. I love my sisters. So I'm not saying to cancel them. But the more you limit what you chase, that's where you judge if the outcome is all ending similar, because even in the looks and the shape, obviously that's not limited to race, right? If I wanted to poke at race again, but you have to mix it up, get different varieties, look different places, deal with different baggages because everybody come with some type of baggage, do the kids if you want, do the no kids. It's so many different ways to have an open mind with this. So you give yourself a chance to meet a potentially good fit. I didn't say good person, good fit. Some people have to be groomed into being a good person. You have the potential. I feel like a lot of people have the potential, but scenario, situation, and fit can really make that shine if they already have it. There's a lot of, you got to bring things out of people. It's not going to always just be gift wrapped here. They're the mindset, the behaviors, those going to always just play. Some things have to be groomed. You understand? So good luck in that. And me, till the next time, my 3 P's is stay progressive, stay positive, and stay pushing. Peace.